Holding.
He's all in.
I'm overheated, can hardly sleep at night, doing crazy dreaming. You're the reason why. Hiding by the baby, losing my mind. Don't try to say.
Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for joining us today. Zeus and I are going to be playing over at Capital Casino, where in the 1-3 game, he actually is not physically there, but emotionally, he's my support dog. Buy in for 500 and off we go. Well, we've been playing for about 30 minutes and haven't really got involved in much. Here we have ace-6 suited in the big blind. There was an early position limp. A player races to 15, another player calls. I call with the suited ace, and so does the player behind me. So we go 4 ways to this flop with $61 in. Flop comes 6-5-5. I think I'm just going to check to the razor. Gets checked all the way around. Turn cards are a good one. Well, it's a 6. We should have the nuts now. I decided to check it again, see if someone wants to take a stab at it. Player in last position does stab for $20. Most likely this is an ace-high type of hand. I call, and I get a quick overcall from the player behind me. Kind of odd. That usually indicates they have a very strong hand. River card comes as a 4 diamonds. I think I have to do my own betting now, so I decided to leave for $40. Hopefully this will get a crying call for someone with a 5. Maybe someone made a straight, put in the crying call. Player behind me now reaches deep and puts out a stack of $100. Now, I don't think they'll be doing this with a 5, and I know they wouldn't do it with a straight. So it means they either have a 6 or possibly pocket 5s. Player at the end of the table does end up folding. I'm not quite sure what they were tanking on for so long once this person put in a raise to 100. Anyway, I think calling's the best play here. I don't think I'm going to get any value from raising. They turn over 6-7 for the full house, and we chop one up. I'm under the gun with ace-5 suited, open for a raise to $15. Player on my direct left puts in the call. The player at the end of the table on the button calls. So does the small blind and the big blind. So we're going to go 5 ways to this flop with $75 in the center. Flop comes out ace-high, but with 2 diamonds and 1 club. I decided to check this. I'm up against 4 opponents, and I got a weak ace. I don't think there's anything to get too excited about. Turn card now is a queen of hearts. Doesn't really help my hand too much. I check it again. The player on my left now bets for $45. Player at the end of the table takes a peek and throws it away. So does a small blind. And now the big blind puts in the call for the $45. I think the player on my left is betting possibly a queen with a good kicker. The caller probably has an ace or a flush draw. If they have an ace, most likely it's better than mine. And if they have a flush draw, well, they got some equity. But I really don't want to just call here because that kind of gives everyone like a free chance to draw out of me. And I've been playing a little bit passively these last few weeks. So I decided to do kind of a merge play. Basically, put in a raise, ideally to get people with a better hand to fold, maybe an ace with a better kicker, and to get the draws to call. Now, if I get jammed on, I'm just going to fold it because ace-5 is never any good when someone jams on you. But if I can get someone to fold maybe a better ace and call with a flush draw, I think that's a good deal. Anyway, first player folds, and now it's to the player on my right. And he goes in the tank a long time. Now, he's a good player, and he kind of knows how I play. And this is an unusual 2 checks and then a check raise. So he's putting me on a big hand, possibly pocket queens, pocket aces, slow played. Anyway, he kind of mumbles about having two pair and says that he's not going to be paying me off. And he does end up folding. So I guess I got away with stealing one. Never know for sure, but I'm happy with the results. Well, over the next hour and a half, I was basically completely card dead. I would get maybe a small pair or maybe some suited connectors I'll call pre-flop and just have to fold on the flop. Here, I finally pick up a good hand. I got pocket queens. I'm under the gun. Open for a raise to $15. It's my standard size raise, I guess. It's folded around to the player in late position. And he looks down at his cards and thinks that his are better than mine, so he raises to $50. Now, he's not a nit. He is someone who's fairly active, so he can have a wider range than normal. The player in the small blind cold calls rather quickly. I'm thinking that this is most likely a hand like a medium-sized pocket pair or ace-king, possibly ace-queen. Since I have two queens, I'm thinking he either has like pocket jacks or ace king. I beat both of those hands, so I'm going to raise to $200. Player who initially raised to $50 decides to just let his hand go. Well, I'm happy with his fold. That usually means that I'm in really good shape because the player in the small blind didn't re-raise. He tanks for a while and he says, well, I'm going to be going with my hand. So he just slides in all his chips as he goes all in. He has me covered. So basically he's just putting me all in for my remaining $208. I can't go anywhere. I think I have the best hand. I'm probably up against ace king. I put in the call. He does show that he has ace king. So we're going to be flipping for $868. Well, the flop comes out 10 high. So far, so good. Turns an 8. River's a 3. And our queens hold up. Well, we played for another half hour or so, but still card dead. So I decided to leave. I came back the next day, and after a very, very slow start, I finally pick up pocket kings in the +1 position. Raised to $15. It gets folded all the way around to the player in the small blind. He doesn't have much in his stack, a little over $100. Well, apparently his hand is good enough to 3-bet, so he reaches down, grabs $40 and slides him in the center. At this point, I should probably just go all in. He only has like $70, $75 remaining. But I decided I'll just put in a call. I'm not worried about getting the money in. Again, it could be a scare card comes on the flop, so it's probably best just to put him in pre-flop. But I called. We see a flop that comes 9 high, all different flavors. Pretty safe flop. Of course, he shoves all in. I snap call like I should. And we're going to see a run out of 7 of clubs and a jack of clubs, and he shows pocket aces. So I waited for an hour to get my kings cracked by aces. Well, the very next hand, I have ace king offsuit from under the gun. Open for $15. I get a call from the player at the end of the table, player in the small blind. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop that comes out ace 5-3 rainbow. That's a pretty good flop for ace king. First player checks. I'm going to continue $20. Player at the end of the table puts in a quick call for the 20, and now the small blind goes all in for $82. Wow. Well, I got ace king. He only has $82. There's no way in the world I'm folding. I thought about isolating the other player, but I kind of want him to call because maybe I'm beat against a small blind. I want to get some side pot going. He folds. We see a run out that comes a little bit dirty, but he had ace queen. I played for another 2 hours, and there was absolutely nothing else interesting happening. So I packed it up, came back 2 days later, give it another shot, this time with ace queen offsuit in the big blind. There were 3 people that limped in, and when it got back to me, I raised to $30. I figure I can just take down some dead money, maybe get 1 caller, perhaps 2. But that's not the way it is at Capital Casino. You limp in for $3, you're going to call a raise to 30. All three players put in $30, so we're going to go off to the flop with $121 in the center. Flop comes out pretty good. Ace, Jack, 7 with 2 clubs. Now the player on my direct left is a little bit of a tighter player, and he has a very short stack, and he looks like he is extremely anxious to get the money in. So where I would normally bet a decent size here, I decided to check it to him, let him bet it for me, and then if I get any action from maybe a loose call for the $37 he has remaining, I can go ahead and check raise. Well, he does bet his $37. The next player to act counts out his $37. Actually, he counted out 36, but to start with, but the dealer got him to put the other dollar in there. What does he have? Well, most likely he doesn't have an ace, since I have one, and I assume my opponent to my left has one. So I'm thinking he has some sort of draw, and most likely one is a flush draw. And I'm going to make him pay for that flush draw. So I jam all in. He has a little over $300 to start with, so he actually snap calls, and so we just have to dodge a club. Turns a heart, river card, 9 of clubs. He shows 7-5 of clubs for a pair and a flush draw on the flop, and he got there. Well, I add $500 to my stack after this hand. The player on my direct left and was replaced by a very good and talented player who I've battled with before. Here I have pocket sixes from the middle position open for $15, and this good talented player raises to $50. Now he has about $1,200 in the stack. He can really mix it up. Don't always know where he's at, but his stack is big enough to where I want to go set mining with my pocket sixes. So I make the call for the $50, and it's just the two of us with 104 in the center, and the flop comes 9-4-4 rainbow. Decent flop for a pair. Of course, he could have a bigger pair than me. I check it over to him, and he bets for $40. $40, I mean, he's going to be c-betting his entire range at this point, so I'm going to have to call. I can't just fold to every c-bet. Turn card comes as a 7 of spades. Shouldn't really help him too much. I check it over to him again, and at this point he decides to reach for some green chips, and he throws in one yellow one to go with it. Makes it $130. Of course, this is a key point of the hand. You're playing against a good player who has position, who has the lead, and has made a bet on the flop and continued on the turn. So I would say you're going to be folding this hand the majority of the time unless you have something really good. I don't have something really good. I got a bluff catcher. But I kind of feel like this really doesn't really hit him. So I want to play, but I don't really want to play. Now, as I said, 80% of the time, I think this is probably just a fold. Probably 20% of the time, you're supposed to just do like some sort of crazy check raise and try to get them off any hands that have equity or possibly have you beat at this point. But I don't choose either one of those options because I am a freaking moron. And I decide I'm just going to call. Now, my idea of calling here is that I don't think he would be bluffing for the river. I think I'll get a free showdown, and I think that I might have him beat. I can beat a lot of ace king, ace queen type of hands, but I just think this is just a horrible play on my part. I mean, what am I thinking? You either have to go for a check raise and try to steal the pot, or you just dump the hand. But, you know, life is good when you catch a 6 on the river.
I heard that God protects idiots and Irishmen. You just happen to be both. I can't believe how lucky you are.
All right, so what do you do? Well, I have like 3 options. I can check it and hope he bluffs it off. I mean, I doubt he will. He's a good, solid player. I think he has a lot of showdown hand strength right now, a lot of pocket pairs, over pairs. I don't think he would be blasting off with ace king. I think he'll probably bet anything near the top of his range, but then again, he would also call with anything near the top of his range. So I don't think I'm getting any value by just checking it to him. I think that his medium strength hands, his maybe pocket jacks and tens will be checking it back at this point. So then I started thinking about maybe a block bet, make a small block bet. He might see it as weakness and come over the top. And if he has some crying call hand, that I can get a crying call from him. But I think the best thing is just to go ahead and jam it all in there, because my hand looks really, really odd. I mean, what hand would I play this way? There's no way I'm going to be showing up at pocket sixes on the river, because only an idiot will play that way. And so I'm hoping that the confusion and targeting in the top of his range will get him to call. He does tank for a while, but he eventually makes a solid fold. We did talk about the hand later. He was interested in seeing it on the vlog, and he decided to let me know what he had once I decided to quit the game, which was probably about an hour later. He did have Jack 9 of spades, so his openings was a little bit wider than I suspected. He flopped top pair, turned a flush draw. I was drawn just about totally dead and got there. I'm not sure how the check raise line would have worked, whether he would called off or not, but I think the folding line was the best line. So I misplayed the hand, got extremely lucky, and won a nice pot. Well, the rest of the day was really quiet, so I ended up cashing out a small loser. For the week, I ended up winning $390, which I'm happy about because it's a plus and not a minus. The last 3 weeks have not been that kind to me. But we got a win. Win is a win, right? I do appreciate you making it to the end of the video, and thank you for all your support. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do that. Give it a little thumbs up. And until next week, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here soon.